Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Between Numbers podcast. Week 10 is in the books. The Dallas Cowboys, the new number one seed in the NFL, after their victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the New England Patriots fell at Foxborough to the Seattle Seahawks. So we've got a new number one seed. We're going to go over the games as we do each week. We've got me talking about the Cowboys game, and Will talking about the Patriots game. But first of all, Will, how's it going?
Considering that the Patriots lost on Sunday night, I'm not actually that annoyed because it took after the Cowboys, probably they're one of the best teams in the NFL. It took them to play at their very, very best
Yeah, yeah.
to beat us, and it also took us like really screwing up with our fourth and goal at the 1 yard line, and we fumbled it. But yeah, like no, it's I don't think we did ourselves any like disfavors on Sunday. I thought we played really well. I thought Gronkowski had a really good game. I thought there was one moment where Brady, maybe his age was coming through, where there was really good pass protection, and then the pass protection kind of broke down and he moved around the pocket a bit, and then launched like a throw really far downfield. I can't remember who it was to. I think it was to Malcolm Mitchell. And it was into double coverage, but the throw was just terribly inaccurate, and it's not like he had like no time to throw. He got his footing right, but just completely screwed the throw up and threw an interception. And that was probably the only moment where I was like, that's not the kind of mistake you see from Brady. But maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a good reason for it. Or maybe he's like, maybe he went home and cried about it, and he's just spent the whole week just working on that single throw because that's the kind of thing he does.
It could be. It could be. It could be. Anyway, any like, well, I mean, the scores just came out over the weekend. I'm pretty gutted because obviously the Panthers blew a 17-0 lead over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs even put up 17 points in the fourth quarter. The entire game were in the driving seat, and I don't know, pushed us further and further away from the playoffs, which is something which is going to definitely come up. We'll talk about it a little bit when we talk about the predictions, because our next game is Thursday night game coming starting tomorrow, which is the one we need to win. Otherwise, I think that's us out of the playoffs. But
Yeah. I think it's still like, sounds cliche, but yeah, you definitely made your like life a lot harder now. And I think it's not helping that you're making like the mistakes you're making are really weird and stupid. And also that Calvin Benjamin like strip.
yeah, the
It's
fumble
just
from
so,
him. Well, no, yeah, like what is he doing? Like just I don't know. Like you protect the ball. Like it's just you didn't have a great game. We kind of expected him to be much better than I thought he was going to be this because had a great rookie year, and then obviously he's injured last year for his second one. So he hasn't had that second year regression, which a lot of players go through. Which maybe he's burnt on this year, which is obviously it's not great for us as we currently 3-6. But yeah, the Chiefs are a tough team to beat, and I'm not really bothered that we lost to them.
I
Which
think
the fact that we blew a 17-point lead is the issue, which I'm annoyed about. Like,
I mean
I probably expected us to lose.
at the moment, I mean the Chiefs are the form team going into that game. And they are. I mean, the Chiefs always they're constantly getting underrated, but they are a really good team, and they
They're
can beat
second seed in the AFC now.
yeah, and they can beat anyone on their day. I think the Chiefs Broncos game has been flexed to prime time now.
Has it? Ooh,
Yeah,
very
they
nice.
dropped the Patriots Jets game from Sunday Night Football and replaced it with the Chiefs Broncos game because that's going to be a way better game as opposed to like
Chiefs.
us smashing the Jets.
Oh, do you know what we have coming up this week? Actually, we have the first ever Mexico game.
Oh yeah, we do. I'm
We
so
have the
excited about this.
Texans going to the Raiders. Wow, we can
Yeah.
talk about that when it comes into that.
Yeah.
Obviously, guys, a lot of things to talk about this week. But do you want to get started on one of your three games you picked this week?
Yeah, I'm going to start with my favourite game to watch this week, which was the Titans-Packers game, where the Packers went all the way down to Tennessee, to Nashville, the home of country music, to get absolutely smashed 47-25 by the Tennessee Titans, who it's probably their biggest win since they became the Tennessee Titans. They were obviously the Houston Oilers before that. It's the worst. They were down 35-10 at halftime, the Packers, which was the biggest deficit to be down by in the Aaron Rodgers era. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he didn't. Well, he had a pretty terrible game, but Marcus Mariota had one of his most impressive games in the NFL. He had 295 yards, threw 4 touchdowns, had a passer rating of 149.8. DeMarco Murray had 123 yards, Delaney Walker had 124 yards. I mean, everyone, like everything just came together for the Titans today, and it came just at the right time. Like I was saying this on the other show that I do that like this is the kind of game where like the Titans really got to take advantage of this because the Packers they're wounded, their morale's low, they can't get anything going. There's divisions in the locker room. Mike McCarthy is losing control of the team, and this is like the perfect moment because the Titans are trending in the right way as well. And it could be the kind of day where you see a big win for the Titans and things kind of change into Green Bay, and exactly that happened. I don't think this is the kind of win where like I don't think we should get like too overexcited about the Titans. I don't think they're going to go at
Uh-huh.
10-6 and go to the
True,
playoffs now.
true.
I
Is
think
it just
that
it's just kind of a case of the
yeah,
Packers not playing as well as they should be, and the Titans, well, they're definitely playing like above what they're doing.
yeah. I think for the Titans, the kind of scenario that I would envision for them now is I'd say best case scenario is probably 9-7 or 7-9, like kind of at the 500 mark. And then maybe like depending on how badly their divisions go, maybe like sneak into the playoffs. I'd say that's playoffs is like that's hold back on that first, but first aim on getting a winning record. And I could see their situation maybe similar to how the Raiders were last season, where they showed like flashes for like 2 or 3 games of brilliance, especially on offense, and then it kind of put down the foundations for this season for the Raiders, where they've been absolutely outstanding. And I can see that being like a kind of blueprint for the Titans. If they draft well on defense in the offseason, because that is an issue for them, that they always just get involved in shootouts because they've got a good offense, but they lack on defense. If they draft well on defense and kind of build around this, they could be really good going forward. But we don't really know. I mean, this is an unknown entity for the Titans. They've never been in this scenario where they've been good. But
They haven't been for a while, yeah.
yeah. So, but no, it's I mean, it's. I think a lot of credit has to go to the Titans and Mike Mularkey and Marcus Mariota in this game. I think they took advantage of a difficult scenario for the Packers. But a lot of question marks on the Packers at the moment. I think if this is like this scenario like this, I've been talking about all it like we seem to be just sleepwalking to a scenario where the Packers are just slowly falling out of the playoffs. And I think if that does happen, I think Mike McCarthy could be on the way out. But the problem is that the Packers don't like making knee-jerk decisions, and they like everything they do is really well thought out. And I think what could pull them away from sacking Mike McCarthy is he is still a really good coach, and he could very easily just like walk out and go to another team and just come in and like smash the Packers every year,
True, true.
like go to Chicago or something, because he's still a top-class coach. And it's kind of like who would also replace him. I don't think there's anyone out there right now who'd be a natural
Yeah,
replacement
plus like
for him.
the work that he's done with like the Packers, and it's just this one year which they're going
Yeah.
downhill, and it's
But
just like it's I have the same opinion with him as I have with Marvin Lewis at the Bengals.
yeah,
Like the Bengals are like I wouldn't get rid of him.
yeah,
Like sure like he's not having like the Bengals aren't playing well,
yeah,
and they're not having a good year, but at the same time this is like the one year in the past like 5. If they don't go to the playoffs this year, this will be the one year in the last 5 years they haven't, and that's like you can't just get rid of someone for that. I
yeah.
mean,
It's a kind of a scenario where it's like careful what you wish for. That all right, you sack him after a terrible year, um, and then who knows, you could replace a guy who's just not as good. Like kind of like the Andy Reid scenario in Philly where they sacked Andy Reid because it kind of went stale. And they ended up then hiring a guy, Doug Peterson, who came from Andy Reid because they wanted something similar to that, where you think sacking the coach who's gone bad is going to work out, but you end up making the scenario worse because you realise what you lose after he's gone.
yeah, but it
Uh,
just doesn't help sometimes, you know.
yeah, but no, like maybe they find something good, like, but I don't think there's anyone good enough out there who'd be better than Mike McCarthy at the moment for them.
Yeah, it's true. I agree with you there. I mean, there are a lot of coaches who are being touted for head coaching jobs the end of next season. I mean, you got like the you got the Patriots the
Josh McDaniels.
Josh Daniels, yeah, and then the play caller, the offensive coordinator for the Giants as well. He's also getting some love.
Yeah.
But
Also the Jim Schwartz
yeah,
in
Jim
Philly,
was definitely from
he's getting a bit of love. But
yeah, it's basically anyone who's had or like been connected to a head coaching job before. Everyone might be like, well, you've already done it. You know what's going on, so maybe. One thing I really liked in this Packers Titans game was DeMarco Murray throwing a touchdown. I thought that was a great play.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that. He sold it really well. To be fair, like I appreciate it. It did well.
uh, I do just quickly on DeMarco Murray before we move on to another game. I mean, like, what a comeback! Like, this guy. I think he's like on the cards for, like, comeback player of the year.
Oh, I reckon if he probably doesn't, I can't think of anyone else who's probably getting comeback player of the year. over him.
Either maybe Andrew Luck, but he hasn't had like a
I don't think
complete,
he's playing that
lights
well,
out
yeah.
season. But I mean,
Yeah.
DeMarco Murray, like, because he is at the Titans, so people don't concentrate as much. But like, he has been like back at the same level he was in Dallas.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know. And even within like this game, he rushed for what was like 123 yards, and he had his left tackle Taylor Lewan get like thrown out of the game in like 5 minutes into the game because he
Yeah.
shoved a ref, and he still runs for like 100 over 123. Yeah, a lot of issues. Remember when the Packers used to be the #1 run defense in the league, and then
Yeah.
Zeke Elliott ran over them, and then they've just been letting, and then that's just kind of dented
Yeah.
their confidence, really.
Remember when Aaron Rodgers? They said that Aaron Rodgers could carry the team no matter who they had at wide receiver.
Yeah, well, it's not really working right now. I mean, Jordy Nelson had a good game.
He
So
did.
Devontae Adams,
Jordy
6
Nelson has
catches.
come out and admitted that he still hasn't fully got over his injury yet.
I mean, I don't really think there's a better wide receiver quarterback combo, like to put in terms of like knowing where they'll be and like trusting your man better than Jordy Nelson.
What about Adam and Brady?
Nah, I don't see that at all. Nah, like. I want to like you could I want to say that you can't say Gronk because Gronk would be good no matter who
You
he
can't
was
like.
with.
It's so difficult not to spot him. He's
But
so
like
massive.
but like he's good because he's a very good player. Like the combination between I think like it's more like the Aaron Rodgers Jordan Nelson's more on the Julian Edelman scale because they're not like I wouldn't say Edelman's a #1 receiver. But because he knows like Brady's mind, he's always there for him, and so it's the same thing with Jordy Nelson. But like, and you don't get that with some other wide receiver quarterback combinations.
Yeah. All right. Should we move on to another game?
Yeah, actually, we want to move on to one of my games. First game I picked up this week is the Miami Dolphins, who headed to San Diego to take on the Chargers this year. And it was a pretty intense game going down to the last quarter, where Kiko Alonso, the former Bill and Eagle, picked off Philly Rivers in the last minute. I'll explain this to you. The Chargers are pushing towards field goal with like a minute left, and I think there's like a minute and maybe 10 seconds left in the game. They just need to get into field goal range. They're like 10 yards away from it. They pick up the first down. They've got it. They can run out the clock. They'll be fine. Philly Ribs drops back into coverage. He drops back. Kiko Alonso drops back into coverage. Then jumps the play, picks off Philly Riv. I think it's like a 50-yard or like 60-yard interception to win the game with a minute left. Like that play was crazy. And I remember when Kiko Alonso, when he was at the Bills, and everyone was saying like what a great player he was, and when he got traded to the Eagles, and it was because Chip Kelly was there as part of that LaShawn McCoy trade. Everyone was like, yeah, he's like really gonna be better. He's really gonna show how good he is. But this is definitely like one of the best things he's done. Most notable, I guess. I mean, winning the game's not bad. But that was the 4th interception Philip Rivers threw that day. He's got 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 326 yards, and it just wasn't going for the Chargers. I mean, Melvin Gordon didn't really get going. 24 attempts for only 70 yards. Not that great. I mean, had some good T.Y. Williams is having a great season for the San Diego Chargers. He picked up 125 yards and a touchdown, and it was just like. The Chargers seem to be kind of making their way back into the mix in the AFC. I know they got a difficult one because their division. Well, they're possibly the best division in football. Or the NFC East. I mean, you can probably say the NFC East right now, seeing as no one's got a losing record, whereas the Chargers are the one with the losing record. But they're still one of the teams who you can't really count out at any point, especially with Rivers there. But just too many mistakes from Philly River today, pushing the Chargers further and further away from coming back into the division, maybe getting a wild card spot. Difficult. Also, the Miami Dolphins, they're the 7-9 team of. They're the LA Rams, the 7-9 team of the AFC. the Dolphins are 5-4 right now, and
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins. It's been like a
in the hunt.
revelation. Like they finally found a way to found an identity as a team. With
Like
Ryan
their
Tannehill.
offense is growing, I think definitely because Tannehill is definitely coming better. Like I'm never really too sure about Tannehill. I always think he's gonna be okay, but then he'll just do something terrible. But I think the rushing game, the running game, which is really was helped the Dolphins, because obviously with JHI, we know how well he's played. Didn't get 100 yards rushing in this one, but like they're giving him enough touches. He gets 19 touches today. And the game runs for 79 yards, and it's just a very important, like they're important runs. Like he can pick up those hard first downs. And the receiving core that Tannehill has is pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, I think there's such an people don't see the importance of like a quarterback. Like it doesn't matter if he's a veteran or if he's a rookie. Who isn't quite sure about what's going on. Like Tannehill, like I've been highly critical of him. Like I did think today was probably one of the best games he's ever played. I think it's the first time where you can kind of say like, oh, that's like a good Ryan Tannehill win, where he stepped up to the mark. And I thought the big reason why he has had this resurgence is just, it's a really small thing. It's just settle, like have a really solid run game that you can lean on heavily. Like they've done with JHI, and it really takes the pressure off the quarterback really nicely.
It's really odd how, I think, because they had Lamar Miller back there last season, and like for most people, like before the start of the season, you take Lamar Miller over JHI.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't, like, it didn't really click with Lamar Miller, but for some reason, this offense is working really well right now.
Yeah, I think JHI is like depending on how he keeps going. If he keeps trending upwards like this, I think he's a candidate for maybe Offensive Player of the Year.
Maybe, yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I'm trying to think, like, if there was like a breakout star, maybe that could be it. But just like a player who's been in the league. But speaking of the Rams, they have the Dolphins are playing the Rams in football this weekend. So we have the two 7-9 teams going head to head.
Yeah, and Jared Goff is making his first start.
As he will be. So excited for that game. You know, I quite like the Dolphins right now. They're doing all right.
Yeah. Just quickly on the Chargers before we move on. I was saying last week that I thought the Chargers are going to go on like a 3-game win streak. And that they don't have to care about offense because they have Phillip Rivers and he will just carry the offense. And he was the reason they lost this week.
True.
So like uncharacteristic that.
But like we all know, and I'm sure he knows, you can't throw 4 interceptions and expect to win a game.
No. But I mean, yeah, and I mean the Dolphins are looking good. I think they like this game against the Rams next week is the perfect game for them because they've got a rookie quarterback who no one's really sure about as well. They're high on confidence as well. So
I mean, this could be the first time in a while that the Rams maybe break out of 7-9. I mean, if they do pick up the win against. The Dolphins. Yeah, they do pick up the win against the Rams. They'll be 6-4. That's only 2 wins away from getting to 500.
I mean, maybe they get 8-8 this year.
Maybe they go 8-8. Let's go Rams. Let's go Dolphins. Yeah.
All right, I'll move on to my next game.
Go on.
All right, my next game is sticking to the AFC East. Is the Patriots and Seahawks game, which was in Foxborough. The Seahawks won 31-24. It was a really good game. It was a really enjoyable game.
I agree.
I didn't stay up to watch it. I watched it on Game Pass the next morning because it's obviously like 1:30 in the morning for us.
Yeah, I
didn't think about staying up. I was so tired. In the evening, I could just about stay up to watch the afternoon kickoffs. I was like, I've got to stay awake for another hour to wait for kickoff, and then another 3 hours of watching the game. I'll just watch it in the morning. But no, it was a really good game. I thought it was the kind of game that the NFL really needed. Like now that the election's over and they're back on centre stage in terms of like prime time, and the numbers have dipped so badly this year, and primetime games have been pretty bad. They needed like a big game like this with 2 really good teams going at each other, and it was a really fun game to watch. I thought both teams didn't come out of this game thinking, damn, like our season's over now, like we lost to the Seahawks. I think it was a really tight game. Either team could have won this game. Obviously, the Patriots had their own muff at the goal line, kind of like karma after the Seahawks had their screw up 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. But hey, they did theirs in the Super Bowl and we won the Super Bowl and we have that forever. We did it in a regular season game and we don't really care about that. But no, there was loads and loads of league changes in the game. I thought Russell Wilson, he looked even better this week. He looked so much more mobile in the pocket. It's so like I think the big problem was that their lack of pass rush, and they couldn't get up to Russell Wilson very well. And it kind of showed he had a really good game, but I think Brady had a good game as well. I think that tight end combination is getting even better and better with Gronk and Martellus Bennett. Martellus Bennett actually had the better game this week. He had 102 yards. Edelman had 99 yards. But overall, it was like generally, I thought it was a really good advert for the NFL. Two really good teams going at each other. This is like, I mean, like this could be a potential Super Bowl, this game. And a lot of people wouldn't be surprised if this was a Super Bowl game.
It seems like everyone's like anointing this as the Super Bowl game.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's it's weird. I was like, every point in the season, everyone's going to be like, "This is going to be the Super Bowl. This is the teams are playing well. This is Super Bowl." Like, amount of times that people were like, "Yeah, the Vikings are going to be in the Super Bowl," and like, well, you know.
Well, I think this is like, if you're going to go for a Super Bowl prediction, this is probably the safest bet to go with.
Yeah,
because they're two like proven teams who you know will perform in the playoffs.
True.
And I mean, I think the reason why people are holding back on the Cowboys is they're an unknown entity. I mean, they've got a rookie quarterback for them. Like,
yeah, they've got rookie offense basically.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen there. But you know, like there could, there's still like some teams in the AFC especially who've got the potential to kind of like mix it up. Like definitely, for example, like the Chiefs could maybe.
Yeah, we're talking about the Chiefs earlier.
And like maybe the Raiders or the Broncos.
Maybe the Dolphins, they come back in, get the win.
No, that's not. That's not happening. Or even the Falcons, maybe.
Nah, Falcons, no.
All right, so no NFC South teams.
Hey, I think the Panthers still have a shot for it, mate.
I would be more if the Panthers found a way of getting to the playoffs, and so did the Falcons. I would be less surprised if the Falcons then made it to the Super Bowl than if the Panthers made it to the Super Bowl and if the Falcons didn't.
Yeah, because but to be honest, that probably means that we go on some like crazy win streak.
Yeah. It's just about the teams you trust in the playoffs. Problem is, no one trusts the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we'll trust you to beat the Texans when they don't have a quarterback, but
yeah. No one really trusts the Cowboys in the playoffs. Like the only NFC team you trust in the playoffs is the Seahawks.
Right now, like, yeah, looking at the playoff like picture right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Giants are pretty good.
Yeah,
they do play well in the. They do play well in the playoffs. They're like the Ravens. They'll be average, and then come into January, and then boom.
Yeah, that could be.
I don't really trust anyone else, to be honest.
I just have major trust.
Not right now. Until the Packers get back into the playoffs, and then I'll be like maybe them.
Yeah.
Right, so I move on to my second game.
Yeah.
Who I've got two teams who are playing in London this year. In different games. I've got the Cincinnati Bengals, who travelled to the Big Apple to take on the Giants. In a game which was a close one. Giants won by a point, throwing a touchdown in the fourth quarter to win 21-20. With Manning throwing for Eli Manning getting three touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But, you know, a lot of interceptions in the game. Well, Manning had 2. Andy Dalton had 1 and wasn't quite able to lead the Bengals to a victory here, which really puts the Bengals in a struggling position with regards to their record right now. It's actually working out not so bad, seeing as the rest of what I thought was the best division in football, the AFC North, their teams are kind of average. I mean, you only have one above 500 team, and that is the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers sitting there at 4-5, who are many people and my prediction for who was going to go to the Super Bowl at the start of the season for the AFC. I'm doing really bad in my prediction for the Super Bowl because I'm pretty sure I predicted Panthers Steelers in the Super Bowl. So you know it's totally happening. But anyway, back to the Cincinnati Bengals and the Giants game. It was just. Another game actually I want to say where Landon Collins picks up another interception. That's like I don't know what he's on right now, but he must be like up there with leading the league surely in interceptions. I think. Let me pick it up right now. He's joined. I know he's not. He's third in the league in interceptions with 4 interceptions, but I'm pretty sure they've all been in his last 5 games.
Yeah. He's trending in the right direction.
yeah, he's definitely getting some love. So I think the Bengals, I'm not really sure what's going on with them right now. It just seems to be that they're missing that kind of punch on offense, even though they have a very standardly, a very good, competent offense.
I think they're really missing Marvin Jones and Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah, I don't know if I can put it down to both of them. Maybe if they'd lost one of them, yeah. If they'd lost one of them, they would have been, I think, much better off than they are right now.
It takes because I don't think Brandon LaFell and
Yeah,
Tyler Boyd.
he's definitely not. I don't think Brandon LaFell's a number 2 receiver. He wasn't a number 2 receiver at the Patriots.
He's more like a third choice receiver.
He was a number 2 receiver at the Panthers, but that was back when we had a terrible receiving core and we had Steve Smith Sr. And he's obviously we don't really need anyone else. We have him. But I mean, it just seems to be one of those things where their offense is kind of stalled a little bit. The loss of Hugh Jackson going to coach the Cleveland Browns is hitting them a little bit. They're not really sure what's going on with Andy Dalton, but
I don't think that's the issue because I don't think Andy Dalton, in terms of the way he's played, I don't think he's been that bad. I think he still has looked. He just hasn't had the option to have big games because his receivers have been so bad. I think another thing you could probably put on as well is probably definitely the run game. Gio Bernard and Jeremy Hill.
They have such a good punch. They have got such a good 1-2, the best in the league, I would say, the running back situation because they've got 2 number 1 running backs playing basically. They've got Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard, who any team I reckon they would probably any other team they're obviously improving the run. They're obviously improving the run, but they could be number 1 rush running backs on their own.
Yeah.
And you got Andy Dalton, who, despite how it seems, I think he's a very underrated runner as well. I think he's in the same category as Alex Smith, really good at scrambling, but you just don't expect it. It just
he definitely has that ability.
Yeah, and it just hasn't been that much of that great for them really. Yeah. They have the chance in the third quarter. They were up by 6 points in the third. And instead of pushing for a pushing for a touchdown in the third, they ended up getting a field goal with Mike Nugent hitting a 38-yard field goal, which left 3 minutes on the clock for Eli Manning to go down and score and pick up the win for the Giants. But the Giants definitely improving. I really like what they're doing. Obviously, I said this last week. I think them and any other team in the NFC East are slipping under the radar because everyone's looking at the Cowboys. And let's remember the Cowboys picked up a loss this season. And I'm pretty sure it was week 1 the Giants. So they're already picking up. They already got that leg up over them there. If they're waiting for one thing for either Dak or someone to make something to happen, to make a mistake. Looking very unlikely, I know, but the Giants are there, and they've seemed to got that 5th seed locked down pretty well.
This was definitely a game that they needed to win if they wanted to be serious about making the playoffs, because it's this is what I always thought their issue was a lot of the time is their inconsistency last season. They would win one game and then look amazing and then look really average the next week. They looked really good this week. And they finally looked like they were just consistently playing at a certain level. It wasn't I don't think it's an incredible level, but I think they're playing at a consistent level where they can at least win games at. And I still think I wouldn't shore them in to get to the playoffs, but I think they definitely put down a marker. But all right, shall I move on to my next game?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right. My final game is the Falcons at the Philadelphia Eagles. And this was a surprise win for the Philadelphia Eagles. They beat the Atlanta Falcons, who have now dropped to 6-4, and the Eagles have moved to 5-4. A really interesting game. I think the way that the Eagles went about this, they didn't do what other teams did when playing against the Falcons, which is take advantage of the young secondary they have and kind of try and put up as many points as possible and beat them in a shootout. They opted for something else, which is just don't let the offense on the field, which worked really well for them. They stopped. They really restricted the amount of drives that the Falcons had. By doing really long, methodical drives. They ran the football quite a lot with Ryan Matthews.
Ran it a lot. It was the most they'd run it in the past 3 or something years.
Yeah, they had it with Wendell Smallwood and Ryan Matthews combined. They had about like 180-ish yards, and then Carson Wentz had about 231 passing yards. They didn't throw any interceptions, but the main thing was they just kept the ball moving, which is quite a contrast to last season where they had like the fast-paced Chip Kelly offense.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
this works really well because it kind of put the pressure on Matt Ryan to make the most of their plays, which they didn't obviously. They were able to. They didn't do the whole thing where you just try and take Julio Jones out of the game. They kind of forced him to do it, but they put him in difficult situations. So I think there was two moments in the game where Julio Jones had a drop and another one where Matt Ryan like blazed the ball like straight over him. So they really went about it really well. And instead of kind of limiting him to to as least possible yards as possible, they limited the big plays and tried to stop him like at other moments. Like okay, he had 135 receiving yards, but he didn't catch a touchdown, and his longest one was 29 yards. So it was more kind of keeping it in check and keeping the balance in. And it was really good management again. I thought it was really good coaching by Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz in terms of like a game management type thing. And it was a really impressive performance by the Eagles after they had a bit of a slump. But yeah,
Yeah, the Eagles. Like, how impressed have you been with the Eagles this season? I mean,
Really?
they traded up for like the number 2 pick, we know, and took Carson Wentz, but obviously it's just been. No one expect them to have like a look into the playoffs, even into the NFC East really, because everyone's just like, well, don't really see them coming back. When like all the NFC East teams are now above 500, they've got the best division in football, and it's even the Eagles are 5-4 with a rookie quarterback. That's still pretty damn impressive.
I mean, it's been such a strange season for rookie quarterbacks. I don't think I can't remember a season where
Yeah, if you are a rookie quarterback, you're doing well. Like that's
Yeah.
just what this is. It's weird.
and even
So
even if you're a rookie quarterback who's having a winning season, you're I mean you're doing amazing. I don't think there's ever been a rookie quarterback that's gone to the Super Bowl. I mean the closest was Ben Roethlisberger, who did it in his second season, and even
Yeah,
then
I think he
was
did his second, yeah.
highly restricted in terms of his play. So I mean, imagine if Dak went to the
Imagine if the Cowboys went to the Super Bowl with a rookie running back and a rookie quarterback. I mean, you may as well call the NFC over. Like that's just it. Like that's the rest. Like the next like 5 years, like the Cowboys maybe. I don't know.
yeah.
Do you want me to move on to my next game?
Yeah.
The last game, which includes Dak and Ezekiel Elliott, which is the Cowboys who traveled to the Steel City to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they came out with a win, and it was an emphatic win by the Cowboys. Such a close game in the end. There was a fake spike interception thrown by Ben Roethlisberger with I think like a minute left in the game. That was just after the. Let's put it this way. There was 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Le'Veon Bell gets hits a 1-yard run. Ezekiel Elliott then goes down. Well, the Cowboys then go down the field, pick up Ezekiel Elliott with a 14-yard run. With I think that was like 5 minutes left, which obviously gave the Steelers time. And the fake spike then throw to Antonio Brown, which is one of the craziest plays I've seen. It was just because no one else, like none of the Cowboys knew what was going on. None of the Steelers knew what was going on apart from those two, and they're the only people who needed to know. The fakes, like all the Cowboys' offensive line stood straight up, being like, "We spiked it, there we go," and Ben Roethlisberger takes advantage. But the crazy thing was, from that, the Cowboys then go down the field with 30 seconds left. Ezekiel Elliott scores a 32-yard touchdown run. They were in scoring. They could have kicked the field goal. They were in scoring position, but then Ezekiel Elliott just picks up the win. And it's just such a clutch performance from the Cowboys. And if you can do that against the Steelers, one of the teams who people thought would be in the Super Bowl this year. Ezekiel Elliott rushing for 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very important 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And he also got his first throwing one, which he went for, I think it was like 83 yards on like 2nd and 18.
That was such an awesome play.
Screen pass to Ezekiel Elliott, and he just runs the whole field.
I mean, he's such. That play kind of proved what a talent he is. That
that he can do.
He can do it from anywhere. I mean, it's not just the fact that he's got the best offensive line of football. He is a really talented player, and I think it's been a while since we've seen such a incredible talent. And I think the Cowboys.
I think the most talented running back that we've seen, which isn't Ezekiel Elliott, was playing on the opposite team to him, Le'Veon Bell, because like obviously he's great in all aspects of football. Like he can catch out of the backfield. I mean Le'Veon Bell had 9 receptions for 77 yards and a touchdown, to go on top of his 57 yards of rushing and a touchdown. But it just shows that it's all like about like Ezekiel Elliott is proving that he's maybe the next Le'Veon Bell, maybe the next best running back in the league. And
I think definitely. I mean, he's shown
competition for it.
Big competition. It's going to be so exciting watching kind of this. I mean, Zeke Elliott and Bell. I think they're kind of the new style running back where they're really dynamic. They can do everything, like an all-in-one player.
Yeah, because that was the criticism from Ezekiel Elliott, that he couldn't do it out of the backfield. But
yeah,
there we go.
He's done it. I mean, and also his I think something that goes underrated quite a lot is his blocking ability. That he's a really good blocker when he's not taking a hand off. He takes he's quite good, which is something that rookies suffer on quite a lot. Is they're quite terrible at blocking.
Yeah, because if they're not used to it in college, then they just don't get it. But,
I mean, in college, he's probably like at higher state. He was basically getting the ball on every single down. So
yeah, true. Right, so that win moves Cowboys to 8-1, put them first in the NFL. And with Dak P and Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, what else do you need? Like the Cowboys.
They basically said now that Tony Romo, he's lost his job. It's Dak. It's Dak's.
Yeah, and Tony Romo has even said that it's Dak's team right now. Like he's made his chance and like earned it.
Do you remember the last time something like this happened and what happened?
Are you going to take me back to like Tom Brady with?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that then the Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
No, but I'm not saying the Patriots did it. I'm saying like we could see a scenario like this where Dak he takes the team over and goes all the way and wins the Super Bowl.
True, we could do. I mean, like if actually a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back win the Super Bowl, I don't really know. I feel that as a NFC team, it's going to be difficult for anyone to beat them. But I think this is interesting because the Cowboys have clearly done their drop. The general manager and with Jerry Jones clearly done what he wanted to. They got big. They can run the ball now. Their offense is stellar, and the defense has somehow picked it up this year as well. I don't know what it is, but
even with all those suspensions, they found a way to put together a decent defense. Yeah. But I think a lot of the credit for me has to I feel like has to go to Stephen Jones, their son, Jerry Jones' son, who I think he's the kind of guy making all these. Him and Jason Garrett have kind of like slowly taken over the team and making all these really great picks. They put together that offensive line. I mean, Jerry Jones, he was annoyed that they didn't take Paxton Lynch.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, and I mean,
I think they did all right one.
Yeah, and then he wanted to date Johnny Manziel a couple of years. Like, imagine if they'd made all those decisions, they'd taken Paxton Lynch.
Was it Johnny Manziel and they took Zach Martin, didn't they?
Yeah.
They took maybe the top 3 right guards in the league.
Yeah. So they're definitely they as much as everyone hates the Cowboys, you got to take the hat to them that they've drafted so well in the last couple of years, and put together one of the best offenses in football at the moment.
Yeah, just going on to Ezekiel Elliott after that game, he now has 1,005 yard rushing for this whole season. So he's doing well. He's 70 yards ahead of
doing all right.
Yeah, 70 yards ahead of DeMarco Murray in second. But anyway, should we move on to our picks for this week?
Yes.
Very important to note that the Falcons, the Broncos, the Jets, and the Chargers all have their bye week. Not both.
Is this the last? Is this the last?
This is the last. Yeah, this is the last week of buys.
Yeah.
And we start off on Thursday night.
It's Thanksgiving next week. We've got Thanksgiving games next week.
The week afterwards. Week 11. Yeah. I'm sorry, week 12 because we're in week 11 right now. True. Actually, that's really good. That's always football Thursdays is great, and it'll be an early enough time for us over here in the UK as well. Right, okay, so moving on to our predictions, and we start off with Thursday Night Football this week, where we have the New Orleans Saints taking on my Carolina Panthers, coming into Charlotte. We've already lost to the Saints this season. The Panthers are 3-0 in the division, and currently 3-6. And if the Panthers have any aspirations of getting to the playoffs, this is a must-win game. Basically, every game for the rest of the season is a must-win game for the Panthers. If they want to win the division, they're currently three wins behind the Atlanta Falcons, who have a bye this week. So really importantly, if the Panthers win, they'll go to 4-5, just 2 wins behind the Atlanta Falcons, and they'll also go. Well, they'll still be last in the division because of the record that we currently have. But if we beat the Saints and the other NFC South team who's playing, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're traveling to Kansas City. Then if they lose that game, that'll put the Panthers on 4-6 with the rest of the AFC South apart from the Falcons. So it's a really important game for this. I think this is, if we're gonna make any way to make to the playoffs, this is a must-win game. And I think because we played well last season, last week, a difficult one to take, but I think in Charlotte against Drew Brees, I've got the Panthers in this one, mostly because I need us to win. Otherwise, it's all over. I know I said that last week, but this week is definite.
I'm sticking with the Panthers as well. I think there's so
it.
much riding on this game, like you just said, and I think the Panthers has this ability to come through this game somehow.
And Cam Newton has said that 3-6, they're not pushing the panic button. Yeah, but 3-7, panic button, push it. 4-6 with the other 2 teams in the division on that. You got time to work.
Yeah, indeed.
So yeah, there we go. I pick that. So you picking the Panthers as well?
Yeah, I pick the Panthers.
Right. Okay. Then moving on to the Sunday games. In the start, we have a great matchup for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are going to take on the Cleveland Browns. Probably the best time to play the Steelers right now, although they're hurting. Maybe this would be a huge comeback game where they absolutely demolish the Browns.
Anyway, they've got to go into the intimidating dog pound to win. So
so I'm going to pick the Steelers in this one. I don't know where the Browns are going to pick up their next win.
They will.
I mean, not next win, a win, but
I think a win will come for them at some point down the line.
Yeah, quite interesting one for the Browns. Actually, there's a bye week in 2 weeks.
Is there?
The Browns and the Titans have a bye week in 2 weeks. There's no team on a bye this week. But in week 30, because it would be next week, but next week's Thanksgiving, so obviously there's no, and then that will be the last one. Because I was just flicking through the games to the Browns, thinking what they can win, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm picking the Steelers in this game.
I'm gonna go Steelers as well. Who knows? Like this, that there could be an upset, but I'm not gonna risk my reputation on
it. The reputation, yeah.
Hey, I have a strong reputation.
True. Right, moving on to the to another AFC North team, a team I really do like, and I've got one of my favorite players in the NFL, Eric Weddle, is the just in case you guys didn't know. I've got the Baltimore Ravens, currently 5-4. Going down to take a trip to Dallas. So I think the Cowboys move to 9-1 because they're playing at home. To be fair, if a defense is built to stop the run, it's the Ravens have a very stout defense, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pick the Ravens in this game because I think they like you said, they have that kind of they have a good defense built, and they're kind of team that likes to go to places like Dallas, to places like New England, and just they'll
win a big game. They'll win the big games, and then they'll lose to the Bills or someone. Yeah. That's just the most Ravens thing to do.
And I think as well, there could be because we these rookies are such unknown entities. We don't there's so much hype around Dak and Zeke now, especially after that win against the Steelers, where they really announce themselves even more as genuine big players in this team, not just as good rookies.
True.
And we don't know how they're going to deal with that pressure, but what we do know is the Ravens are good in these kind of scenarios. So I'm going to go with what I know.
Okay, fair enough. There we go. We've got the Ravens there from Will. Right, moving on to a game which I'm definitely not watching. The Jaguars are taking on the Lions.
I'm going to watch it.
The Jaguars are just awful. I don't really watch. They don't make me want to watch any of their games.
Yeah, but I like
Um,
Matt Stafford.
yeah, I know you do, but I don't. So like, I
Alright.
don't. I mean, I reckon he's probably. I mean, they're in the driving seat. They're currently top of the NFC North, aren't they? The Lions. So, and then this would push them to a 6-4 record if they pick up the win, which I think they're going to. Um, I mean, maybe Blake Bortles will throw like 5 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, but they'll still lose
Yeah,
because it'll
sure.
all be in garbage time, and those stats I don't really think about them as that great. So I'll pick the Lions in this one, oddly enough, even as I don't do them. But well,
All right, I'm gonna stick with the Lions as
I
well.
think
Like,
some of the Lions. Well, oh, very nice.
always
Right.
I always pick the Lions.
All right, the informed Tennessee Titans travel to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Um, a win here for the Lions would push them to 6-5. Although the Colts would catch up to them and be on the same record with them after 5-5. But both these teams have lost 2 games within the division. Only picked up one, so whoever wins this stays on top. Really. I don't think I can not pick the Titans for after they did last week against the Packers, but I'm not too confident in this. But I'll pick the Titans. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna. I really don't know because I think this game's gonna be a shootout. Because they're two teams with good offenses but pretty average defenses. And there's two good quarterbacks as well. So it's really difficult to pick which way it's gonna go. I'm
yeah.
gonna kind of stick with
I'm
it because they're both are coming off big wins. Both have just beaten the Packers as well. Um, so it's really even Stevens. I might just plunk it on the Colts as the home team.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And like, I'm waiting for Andrew Luck to get back into
Yeah.
Andrew Luck form. Um, they are my pick for the AFC South as well, the Colts. But I like the Titans right now. I like DeMarco Murray, what he's doing like that. They're running backs in Derrick Henry as well, and it just seems to be working for the Titans. So I'm gonna roll with them.
All right, you roll that way. I'll roll the other way.
All right, Bills at Bengals. Um, the Bengals just come off that hard loss, and I think the Bills were on a bye last week,
Yeah, they were.
so they've had a while to prepare for this game, even though it is in Cincinnati. Ooh, I'm stuck on this one. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna stick with the Bengals here because I think they're the better team, and they're playing at home as well. And I don't think the Bengals are as bad as people are making out to be.
Yeah,
And I think they'll win this game. Like I don't rate the Bills that highly. They had like a bit of a good streak where we thought something was going to happen, and then nothing did happen because it's Rex Ryan and he's not a very good
classic
coach.
Bills.
Yeah.
Classic Bills in the hands. Yeah, I'm just not so sure. After coming off the bye week, I've already clicked on the Bengals for winning this game, so I'm pretty sure that's what I think's gonna happen. But I just don't. Yeah, I'll pick the Bengals as well. I mean, they should win. They are playing home. I'll give them the W basically for that reason. Although I like how the Bills are coming off a bye week. They should be prepared for this game and ready to go. Um, right, important game coming up for me. Another NFC South team with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going on to take on the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City, and I don't really see Kansas City losing this game after coming back from 17 points against the Panthers and winning it. I've got the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason why the Chiefs aren't going to win this game. They're a really good team. Um,
And that'll push them. That'll push them to 8-2 as well.
yeah, like I think we should yeah,
Yeah, we should.
just
I agree.
like I don't people don't talk about the Chiefs enough because they're quite a boring
It's
team to
true.
watch, but they
Yeah,
are a
but
very
they're
good
not.
team.
They don't make exciting plays like say the Bronx, or say the Raiders.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs are there grinding out wins, and I think maybe it's just because they don't have a superstar in their quarterback position. They got Alex Smith, obviously former number one overall pick, but oh, it's just not that exciting. Right, moving on. The Bears take on the Giants. Nothing for me to say here. Giants win.
Um, yeah, I would stick with that as well. I think I already have like a slight idea of the quarterback who the Bears might take in the draft next year.
Ooh, you reckon they're going to take a quarterback? I mean, Tony Romo as a spot.
I think they're going to restart. I think they're going to give
Okay.
I think they're going to give John Fox a start, like an opportunity to restart the offense on his own terms.
Okay, fair enough. Interesting. Obviously, the Bears going towards that like top 3 pick right now with their 2-8 record. Right, the Cardinals travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Now, this sounds like a really good game last season, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it?
Uh, I think it's got the potential to be a good game.
The Vikings are still in the hunt for the playoffs, and so arguably so the Cardinals. I might
I
pick
think
the Minnesota Vikings simply because they're home.
yeah, I was going to go with the Vikings as well because I don't know, I'm more convinced by the Vikings. I kind of think that this blip at the moment is just a blip for them, but the Cardinals have just been systematically really mediocre this season.
Yeah,
And
they
they
haven't been
haven't
great
really
at
got
all.
going. At least the Vikings have that 5 game winning streak at the start, and I'm still kind of putting down this streak at the moment to just like teams have like good teams have this every now and then. They have like a month where they play badly,
Mm.
and I
And then
hope
when it comes to the end
yeah,
of the season, that's when they put it up. Right,
but
so you're taking the Vikes as well.
yeah, if they could find a way of controlling Chandler Jones because he's quite good.
True, true, true. Right, moving on to the 7-9 matchup, we have the Dolphins taking on the Rams. With, as we said, Jared Goff's going to be starting this one. Interesting call from from Jeff Fisher and the Rams organization. I mean, they had to start him, really, didn't they? I mean, everyone, all the media outlets and like people have been like, "What? You've taken him number 1 in the draft. You have to play him." It's the like in this NFL, the current NFL, you have to play your number 1 pick. Like you can't just
I
not.
also think he's going to get absolutely battered.
Yeah, I also think the Dolphins are going to win if that's what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah, like he did that. If you look at why the success of the rookie quarterbacks this season, so we got Dak and Carson
Carson
Wentz,
Wentz, yeah.
who they both all these teams have got a really good run game and a really good offensive line. They protect their quarterback.
What about Cody Kessler?
The Browns are in a like even with like Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett, it's about like simplifying your playbook. And like, what do the Rams have to give Jared Goff? Todd Gurley can barely run the ball. They have an offensive line that's leaking all over the place. He's going to get absolutely smashed and have
Yeah,
nothing.
their defensive line is unreal.
Yeah,
The Dolphins.
what for the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh,
Dominic
both. I guess both you
yeah.
could say.
Like both teams have got really solid defensive line. I mean defensive lines. So it's going to be. I think the game's going to be won and lost on defense. But I do kind of. I think for Jared Goff, I think the important thing is like maybe like in the first quarter he has one massive hit on him, so he kind of knows like what it feels like to get smashed by someone like Dominican Sue, and then
Yeah.
get that out
Or
of the
like
way, and
Cameron
then
Wake
kind of
or someone. Yeah.
and then play with no fear after that.
True. True. Anyway, I'm picking the Dolphins in that one. You are the same, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say.
I think the easy enough call for the next one. The Patriots traveling to the 49ers. Patriots to win.
Yeah,
I mean, the 49ers
this was, like-
are pretty average.
Yeah. Like if this was the 49ers from like the 80s, it would be a good game. It isn't.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with you. Maybe the 49ers from a couple of years ago, possibly.
Yeah.
When they made it to the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship 2 years in a row. Right, Eagles travel to the Seahawks to kick off to end the last of our evening games. Interesting one that. I mean the Seahawks are playing well. I'm picking them. I mean they beat the Patriots. Many see the best team in the NFL, so I've got the Seahawks as well.
Okay. It's a tough one.
They just beat your
I-
Patriots, and I just
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the Seahawks. I think the Eagles. They're still like. I think they're a reasonably good team, but the Seahawks are a great team.
Yeah, the Seahawks are a great team. Right, there is Sunday Night Football this week, which is the Packers at the travel to Washington to take on the Redskins. This is a pretty important game for wildcard situation. Talking about obviously the Washington Redskins sitting in the number 6 seed right now.
Yeah.
With that 5-3-1 record, with the Packers definitely need to get back into the zone with their 4-5 record. But I think I'm pushing it to the Redskins right now. The Packers just aren't playing as well as they should be, and it's just falling out for them.
All right. Okay, go back to the playoffs last year. Do you remember when the Packers played the Redskins?
And everyone picked
the
Kirk Cousins because everyone's like,
And
it's
then-
Kirk Cousins, he's playing amazing. And then we
then-
were like, why didn't we pick Aaron Rodgers?
I'm gonna pick Aaron Rodgers for that exact reason.
Actually, you know what I'm thinking about? The Redskins don't really have a run game.
Oh no, but they had what was the name? They had a running back who played quite well this week. Let me just get it up.
That's the only thing which I'm concerned about with, because if you run over the Packers, you kind of got it. But their passing game, I'm not too sure with. Like, they got a decent secondary with Ha, Clinton Dix kind of holding it down there.
Rob Kelly, he had a really
Rob
good
Kelly,
game.
yeah.
He looks really good. But I think, yeah. But oh, come on, like, think of this: Josh Norman against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Josh Norman against that would be a good one. I think I might have to pick the Packers in the run game. Oh wait, who have you picked? You've picked the.
I picked the Packers.
I'll stick with the Redskins then. I might as well just keep them. Anyway, moving on to the the Monday night game and the first game ever in Mexico. We have the Houston Texans taking on the Oakland Raiders. Crazy game, this, huh? The Mexico. I'm excited to see what they're playing in the Azteca.
Yeah. I mean, and
That's
also,
gonna
like,
be crazy.
it's the perfect team to go down to Mexico, like the Raiders, like the craziest fans as well.
Raiders and like so. The Texans been so close. I mean, they must have some sort of fan base down there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a really good pick by the NFL for these teams to go there, and I quite like it. I quite like the Raiders to pick up a win here in Mexico.
I'm gonna go Raiders as well. I'm still not, even though the Texans are at 6-3, I'm still not really convinced by them at the moment. I think they're not as good a team as we think they are.
True, yeah, especially how Brock Osweiler only threw for 99 yards.
Yeah.
Like 99, only threw for it. Like, wow. I mean, you have
Everett-
like Drew Brees throwing for like 400. Like, I don't know. Like,
I think Teddy Bridgewater had a game like that. He threw for like 80 yards last season at one point.
yeah, but like he had like a. All Teddy Bridgewater needs to do is like AP take it.
Yeah.
Which is their game. But I mean, obviously, the same will come with the Texans with Lamar Miller. But you know, I've got that. So yeah, I think that'll be the end of it. I mean, that still puts well, for me, I put the Dallas Cowboys number 1 in the NFL. And then count on with the AFC West, 3 teams who are 7 wins or higher with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders. If they win, both going to 8-2. So. Expecting that, I like my Panthers and the 4 wins. That's good. Come on, guys. I think we do this. Anything else you want to talk about, bro, or anything to say?
No. I'm really excited for the games this week. I feel like the NFL
I'm
is
excited
like,
for the games.
come alive.
I'll be excited if we win. If the Panthers win, please, guys, please. I want to wake up on Friday and be like, yes, get in. Other than that, I reckon that is it for this week, guys. Let us know what you guys think about our predictions or anything else we've spoken about. Who do you think could be MVP candidate for? I mean, we think maybe Zeke if they win it, but I don't know. And as always, guys, until next week, have a good one.